Just about to find out who... What? Are you serious?
Hey, look who's here. Hey, me, Matt. So last night was the AEW Revolution, and holy shit, this show was everything that I expected. And I mean, the ending was lackluster. We'll get to that when we get to that, but yeah. Besides the pre-show, which I didn't see, this was pretty cool. I really fucking enjoy watching wrestling that makes sense, and this really had all the elements that I think are awesome, in my opinion. That have some surprises, but yeah, this was a really good show. So the pre-show, you had Dr. Britt Baker and Maki Io with Rebel, whatever, when they defeated Rio and Thunder Rosa. I'm assuming this was a good match. Obviously, all these women are good in the ring, and I really enjoy their work. Britt is also very sinister, so it's fun to see her work as well. But yeah, Britt and Maki won. Then we start off the pay-per-view. We have a tag team match for the AEW Tag Team titles, the Young Bucks versus the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho and MJF with Wardlow. And yeah, I mean, both these guys, I'm very impressed with how well they both work together, especially the Young Bucks. There was a move where, I believe this was the match, where Matt hit the tombstone on, I think it was MJF. I could be wrong. But it was on to Chris Jericho now. This was cool. You had a lot of good high-flying spots. A super kick to Chris Jericho by both the Young Bucks. I mean, Jericho and MJF worked really well as well. But obviously that wasn't enough. They hit the Meltzer driver, and the Young Bucks retain the AEW Tag Team titles. Now, there was an interview with the Inner Circle, and you have Jericho saying that they're going to have a meeting on Wednesday. I can't remember what he called it, but it's a power meeting, and I'm still waiting for the heel turn from MJF, turning his back on Chris and throwing him out of the Inner Circle. Whether that happens on Wednesday or not, I'm not quite sure, but yeah. I have the Casino Battle Royal for the opportunity to go out for the AEW Tag Team titles. Well, that was a good match, really good match. I'm very impressed to see these guys as well. You had a lot of really good wrestlers, of course. You got Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and Butcher the Blade. You had Matt and Mike Sydal. Don't know too much about Mike. You had the Gunn brothers, and they both had dressed up to the tribute homage to their father, and I thought that was pretty cool, for one, and of course badass. And well, the way this worked though, it was like having one of the wrestlers on each team would get eliminated, like a battle royal. But yeah, this was cool. You have QT Marshall turn on Dustin, which I'm not sure what that was all about. It came out of nowhere, but Ray Phoenix won for his team from Death Triangle with Pac. So they're going now to challenge the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team Championships. I think that's going to be pretty cool. You've got the AEW Women's title. Hikaru Shida, who defeated Ryo Matsunami. And this was cool to see a veteran like Ryo. And of course, this match was awesome too. You know, they really took each other to the limit. It's one of those matches that I really enjoy in Japan. It's very, obviously, I like that style. You know, Ryo definitely took Hikaru to the limit, but of course, it was without Shida winning the match and retaining the AEW Women's Championship. Then we have a tag team match. We got Miro and Kip Sabian, who defeated the best friends, Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. And yeah, these guys were punished for sure. Orange Cassidy was taken out in the middle of the match, and you had the ending where Miro, of course, put Chucky in a camel clutch. And obviously, this was a good match too. And these two definitely got what they needed, and I picked Miro and Kip for the win. So I'm glad they actually got the win in this one. You had the big money match with Big Money, Matt Hardy, Hangman Adam Page. These two guys really have been one of the top wrestlers, in my opinion, over the years, you know, and both veterans in themselves. Matt definitely was a little stronger in this match, but of course, Hangman Page won with the buckshot lariat. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens with them in the future. So now Hangman has Matt's money, so that's pretty cool. And we'll see how this goes. I think that Matt's a great competitor, but of course Adam won on his night. We have one of the best matches of the night. The Face of the Revolution ladder match, or the brass ring match, is giant golden Cheerio, a ring that they had to grab, obviously. It's kind of reminiscent of the brass ring thing. I thought it was for the TNT Championship, but oh, it's for a future championship. So you had Scorpio Sky, Cody Rhodes, Penta El Zero, Manero, Lance Archer, and Max Caster, and the debut of former Impact wrestler Ethan Page. So that was pretty cool. I think that it was said in Brian Zane's review that Ethan Page was sick and tired of that match that he had, a cinematic match with him in the karate version of himself, which I really don't fucking blame him. But anyways, this was cool, and I think you saw a lot from Ethan and Lance. You know, fuck, Ethan did a Razor's Edge to Lance at one point. And of course, they really used the ladder to their advantage. Cody got taken out in the beginning, but he came back and tried to fight with one arm. But, you know, going into the ladder, you have Scorpio Sky take a chair. Or was it? No, I believe it was Max Caster with a chair and hit Cody in the arm while he was up on the ladder, which reminded me of Chris Benoit, WrestleMania 21, and yeah, this was cool. You have them all try to get the belt, and Scorpio Sky gets it on top of the ladder and grabs the brass ring, so to speak, and now has a shot for the TNT title in the future. I guess Scorpio Sky is now healed, which I have no idea what that's all about, but there it is. In this show, you had Paul White, who was interviewed, saying that the new wrestler coming to the AEW roster will be in. And of course, this was the moment of truth where we got to see who it was and the contract signing. And holy shit,
About to find out who. What? Are you serious? Christian is all elite. What a twist.
Christian Cage. And yeah, you know, it's one of those things where I think this is, I don't want to say it's the biggest coup in wrestling history, getting somebody else into AEW, but you have Paul White, now you have another wrestler that has been all over, and Christian is one of those guys that unfortunately didn't get what I think he deserved in WWE. He had the world title twice, which is fine. He was the Intercontinental Champion, multiple time tag team champion with Edge. His return in ring in the Royal Rumble a few weeks ago was great. I enjoyed it. But, you know, Christian really didn't have the WWE title. And I know that it's a nitpick, because not every wrestler could have the WWE title, but this guy definitely deserved it. So, he, you know, and I think about it too, Christian in TNA won the TNA Championship, won the NWA Championship. You know, if there is a possibility for him to go for the TNT Championship, or hell, the AEW Championship at some point in his career. The guy's only 47 years old, and it's time for him to get what he needs, or get what he deserves. So, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with him. I really can't wait. I'm sure they'll do something. But if he can still go, and yeah, he has had many concussions, but from what I know, he's back to the way he was, so let's see what he can do. So you have the street fight, a cinematic match, which honestly reminded me of a fucking street fight. It was in some warehouse. And Darby Allin and Sting. Now Sting had face paint, one side looking like himself as Sting, the other side Darby. And then of course Darby Allin, who was on a skateboard riding through the streets, gets into the building, and then you have Team Taz, Brian Cage, and Ricky Starks. Now this match was awesome too. You know, they really took each other to the limit. Darby got thrown into a glass window. So it was really Sting versus Brian and Ricky. And then, of course, you have Hook coming into the picture, and can't remember the other dude's name. But they really start kicking his ass. But then he gets his baseball bat, and then Brian's like, "Are you a man? Are you a man?" So of course he throws the baseball bat away and starts kicking ass. Well, then they start kicking his ass. They throw him. No, that was Darby Allin. No, it was Sting. And they throw him off the platform there. But then Sting comes back, and then he finally gets the bat when Darby climbs up to wherever the fuck it was, throws him the bat, and, you know, And then they go into the ring, and then Sting hits that move there, his finisher, and wins the match. Darby and Sting win. And I think that's pretty cool that this match is cool than most of the cinematic matches I've seen this year and last year. I mean, there was a few, but this one was one of the best I've seen in a long time. And then you have what I wanted to see, the exploding barbed wire death match for the AEW Championship. And you know, they hyped it up a lot. They have talks about how dangerous it is, and they show Japanese death matches and everything else. So I was looking forward to it. And I got John Moxley coming out, and he takes a flask, takes a few swigs about it. You know, Kenny Omega coming out, Don Callis. Then you have this referee, and he's got a hazmat suit on, or whatever you call it. And then, of course, everything else. And these two really beat the shit out of each other. I mean, it wasn't long before John Moxley sported a crimson mask. And then, of course, you have the barbed wires, you know, all over the place. You got the barbed wire board on the floor. They really used that to their advantage, and I thought that was pretty cool. Barbed wire baseball bat. Now there was explosions too, especially one of the baseball bats that had barbed wire hitting John right in the face. Of course, Kenny got bloodied as well. But then, of course, you had the countdown at the end. And yeah, you had the Good Brothers come out and help Kenny. And Kenny won the match, retaining the title. But, you know, the countdown goes on. Here comes Eddie Kingston. He gets into the ring. He tries to get John out, but then ends up covering him. And yeah, I think that the ending was a bit stupid. I mean, that was, you know, it could have been better. It was lackluster. As my friend would say, it went over like a fart in church. That's just a little explosion. But, you know, Eddie kind of played it to his advantage. So we'll see what happens in the future. But, I mean, it's awesome. This match was awesome. That's all I can say. I really enjoyed it. It lived up to the hype. So, I mean, yeah. That was awesome. It was great. There was nothing more I could say. But anyways, talk to you later. Bye.
So you know that them cutting WCW was a long time coming. But, you know, I think that there's this myth out there that Jamie Keller that's why he took pleasure in cutting WCW. I don't think that's the case at all. Because if you look at some of his earlier interviews, like